Hello and welcome to another episode of Low Country Lowtown. I am your host, C-Town, and we've got a really great show for you today. But before we get all that kicked off, I want to say make sure to like and comment for the algorithm, please. And also do subscribe and most importantly, share. That is the most important part of all of this. We're trying to promote our small businesses in the Low Country and we need your help. So please do share. Now, with all that out of the way, I'd like to introduce my guest for today, Mr. Jake Cummings.
What's up?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's awesome to be here.
Yeah, dude, thanks for coming on. I'm really stoked about it. Tell the world a little bit about yourself, man.
So, yeah, I live in Summerville here. We're recording right off of Dorchester Road here, everybody's favorite road that is now completely congested.
Yeah, definitely not even a little bit of traffic getting here, right? God bless.
Yeah, we don't want to start out with complaints, though. So,
yeah, well, you're over there in Summers Corner. There's no traffic over there, is there?
There's only 8,000 homes that are being built.
Yeah, only just 8,000. Not even 10 yet, I don't think.
Yeah,
So, I mean, hardly anything.
But that's what I do. So I do mortgage lending, actually, residential loans. Work out of an office in Goose Creek, and I love it here, though, man. So
absolutely,
I don't want to sound like I'm complaining.
No, so you weren't from here originally, though, right?
No, I grew up in Pittsburgh.
Okay, so what brought you guys down this way?
Oh man, yeah, I don't know if we have enough time on the pod here to go through that whole. But I grew up in Pittsburgh, went to school in West Virginia. Go Mountaineers! If there's anybody listening out there, there's not too many. Yeah. But lived in California for 4 years, actually, Long Beach, California. Okay. And then ended up taking a teaching job. That's what originally brought me to Charleston. So
you were in Long Beach. Were you teaching there at all, or
I did a grad program at CSULB.
Okay.
Yeah, go 49ers. I'm repping all my colleges
all
here already. Yeah. And then worked out there for 2 years and then took a teaching job in North Charleston and taught high school music for 10 years here.
Sweet.
Before doing lending.
There you go. Yeah, that's all part of my master plan. I try to bring people along that can help me out. I don't know anything about this audio equipment, so I figured a music guy maybe could help me out a little bit.
I feel a little bit used, but
it's a symbiotic relationship. We'll be all good.
Yeah, I was no help, by the way, if you're listening. I was no help in the setup at all. So
you got any trombones?
Couldn't contribute whatsoever.
Well, we're happy to have you here regardless. But so, all right, you came here originally for the teaching gig, did that for a little while, and then transitioned into lending.
Yeah.
Those aren't exactly similar careers. So why'd you make that switch?
Yeah, I mean, I miss teaching. It was great. The problem was I just burned out.
Yeah.
It's such a demanding job. And if there are some teachers listening, like, God bless, you know?
Yeah.
And especially after COVID, I think it got even harder.
Yeah.
The attention spans of kids and things like that. But that is the one thing that I do miss is actually, being with the kids every day.
Yeah.
So took a hard right turn after I burned out, went back, got an MBA, and wanted to do something in finance and helping people find homes now.
100%, man. So what teaching band during the pandemic, I want to touch on that. How does one go about a band class on a virtual?
So I was running a steel drum program too. So I was teaching percussion, doing a steel drum program, and every kid was sent home, and obviously not every kid has a steel drum at their house. So we did a lot of like music history and you just try to survive. It was very, very challenging.
Yeah, no, I mean, teaching to me, I can think back to some of the people that, you don't really realize it at the time. I'm not sure I totally retained everything I was taught, but
I think anybody does. Yeah.
Just more about, the mentorship and the life lessons you kind of learn from those things. Like I had a photography teacher who was great. I can't, I don't know anything about cameras, but, he taught me a lot about, all types of things just growing up. So I think teachers are really some of the, heroes of our society. But to your point, the demand for that is just crazy. Cause you think, well, it's going to be a 9 to 5-ish Monday through Friday. I'm going to have summers off, going to have weekends off.
Right.
I don't know how many hours they work off the clock or, all that and all the materials that they bring from home for their own stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what the compensation is, but the word on the street is not enough. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. That's pretty well documented at this point. And it's true. And it's a very demanding job.
No doubt.
But, having kids now, it puts it in a different perspective too. Cause I think how I send my kids to school with these teachers all day.
So it's a lot of trust, man.
The importance of that. Yeah.
Because when you really do the math, you figure, okay, well, they're there from, 7 to 3:30 or whatever it is. That's what mine are. And you think about, okay, well, they're, I got to have them in bed by 8 or 9. And, mine now, the oldest is in football. So he's gone doing 2 or 3 hours of that. And I'm like, I got like an hour a day with this guy. And it's a lot of trust in terms of who's really raising your kids, the influence on them. It's big, man. Yeah. Did you have kids while you were teaching, or did that happen after?
That was while I was teaching. They were both born. Okay. Benny, my youngest, he was born like right as I was making the transition.
Okay. So they're in school now, or?
Yeah, Charlotte. She's 6. Okay. So we got our hands full. We got a 6 and a 3-year-old.
Wow. Yeah.
We are in it.
Yeah, that's about right. And that's about the same gap as me. Mine are 8 and 4. So yeah. Fun ages, man. You don't ever get bored. So yeah.
We're everybody always tells us like you're gonna miss these days,
I'm sure we will.
And so when they're like melting down, I'll actually joke with my wife, be like, everybody tells us we're gonna miss this.
It's gonna be so, What it really is you're gonna block out 90% of it, and you're gonna remember the cute moments. You will miss those. The screaming, I don't know if you pine for that specifically, but
even the newborn stage, like I feel like I can't even remember it. Like it wasn't that long ago, and it's like I can't remember what was going on.
Well, it goes fast because they change
so fast,
so much. I mean, the difference between, and that's another, just with my youngest doing football at 8 years old, just the difference between an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. I'm looking at these 10s, I'm like, like juicing them or what?
Right.
Huge. They're out there. And there's only 2 years. You don't think it's a big deal, but at that age, it's crazy. Hit a growth spurt, grow a foot in a day. Just insane stuff. So jumping back to the lending, you've been doing that for how many years, give or take?
2 years now. With my current office, I've been there about 5 months, so about 2 years total.
Sweet. So what have you kind of gained from that in terms of more of a like career perspective, and just how your mindset has shifted, going from what was a kind of a set income to you work with an office, you have that but in a lot of ways, it's similar to being an agent. You've got a brokerage, but
self-driven,
right? Yeah. So you're running 100%. Your own business. Has that been a big shift for you? Or?
Yeah, okay. And it's awesome. I love it. I love it. I mean, you're completely reliant on what you get up and leave the cave and go kill and bring home. And it's such an interesting thing too. Like the education, I feel like has informed so much of how I approach my lending, though. Yeah. So, I'm very educational with my clients. I meet every client eyeball to eyeball, and we talk about their figures before they make an offer. And I think that's super important. But it definitely draws upon the education aspect. But as far as being 100% driven, and I love it, man. I love waking up every day and just hustling and getting to work. I think it's the best.
No, it's incredible, and I do think that teaching comes in handy a lot. Some of the best agents I know, just from my side of the business, a lot of them are former teachers, and just that the patience factor to understand that people don't do this every day.
Need a little patience in real estate, sure.
What you do every day, somebody else does like 2 or 3 times in their life.
Yeah.
So you get so accustomed to it, and it's just, it's another day at the office, of course, blah, blah, blah. But this is all a completely foreign concept.
Yeah.
Not only that, but they're about to spend the most money they've ever done at one point, and they've got no idea how to do it. So,
and that's so important, I think, to remember too, with clients, is like, when you're juggling however many files you're juggling, whether it's 2, 5, 10, whatever, really focusing on like, this is this client's like, I mean, this is the biggest purchase they're ever going to make.
100%.
And it's easy when you're in the day-to-day to almost, I think a lot of lenders forget that, but I mean, people are spending literally hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. I mean, you're sitting there looking at your laptop and, it's numbers on a screen and this, that, and the other. But for them, this is,
it's everything.
It's Christmas morning, Thanksgiving dinner. It's, where they're going to be raising their kids. And again, just the financial factor is huge. So to, be able to keep yourself grounded when doing it every day, I mean, that's a tricky thing to do, man. But I think teaching can be a big help to that. Now, when you got in it, a few years back, what a time to choose to jump into real estate.
It hasn't been good the past 2 years?
It's funny because the people that I talk to the most right now that are running around with their hair on fire are people that got in like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, this is what real estate's like.
Right.
And then, it's 2% rates. Everyone's getting a mortgage. You just throw them out at anybody. Pre-approval is just kind of a formality.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting approved. And, they're absolutely panicking, but really, I think it kind of gives you a bit of a leg up on people because you never got that like softness. You jumped into it at a pretty, adverse, pretty tough time.
Yeah, and hopefully we're just starting to come out of that. Maybe there'll be some wind in the sails here coming up end of the year, maybe into 2026. But we still don't know.
No.
We've been saying that for like 2 years.
Yeah. It feels like, I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly, just about this time last year when we saw a spike down and then it just kind of
went right back
bounced up. So I guess we'll see. I wanted to touch on that a little bit in terms of outlook going forward. It does seem from everything I'm reading that the, kind of public sentiment is changing. I believe it was this past week was the most mortgage applications that we've had since 2022, if I'm not mistaken, in a week. So it seems like people are kind of starting to turn around. Those fives are seeming a little bit more reasonable. I've seen that a lot, with a decent credit profile. Those are kind of coming back. So I want to get your opinion on that. What do you think we're going to be? Is this going to be another, dip and bounce, or are we going to kind of steadily track down?
No, I think nobody has a crystal ball.
Yeah,
we don't know for sure, but the hope is that there is going to continue to be this trickle down. There's going to be a rate cut.
For sure.
It's I think it's like 95% certain at this point in September.
Yeah.
But a lot of that's already baked into mortgages, actually.
Right.
So I'm not sure, but you nailed it with the mindset of people, I think is the biggest thing right now. People have just been so scared for 2 years. The media headlines have just been, just beating
this
everybody
guy's been falling
up.
forever.
And, exactly. So, I think one of the coolest things is when a client reaches out and is just asking like, hey, I don't have any idea what I could qualify for right now. And it's like, okay, well, let's talk about a comfortable monthly payment. Let's talk about where that puts you in your price point, and then you can decide from there,
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing anybody can do, no matter what the market's doing.
Yeah, you got to stay away from the headlines, man. I mean, we, for our careers, have to, kind of, we got to do the research. We got to be involved in it. But the average consumer, if they're doing any research, it's not looking behind the curtain. They might be watching the news or watching whatever, and it's
all clickbait.
It's
all clickbait.
Yeah. You're out there trying to make money.
Sensationalized, and it's just to get your blood boiling, and and it's so personal to everybody. Everybody's home purchase is going to be completely different.
For sure. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the irony of it all. When you look at everybody back in 2020 and 21, we're looking at this is this great time to buy because rates are so low. But ironically, that would be classified as a seller's market, right? You're overpaying, by 20, 30 over appraisal for a house. Not every time, but a lot of the times. There's no concessions. There's no such thing as a, under offer ask. That's not a real thing. And so now that's back, and people they've been more, kind of apprehensive. It's like, well, this is the best one for you.
Yeah. We bought and sold in 21.
Yeah.
And like, I remember, so we listed our house and like within, a day, there was like a dozen offers.
Yeah.
And I remember going to dinner with my realtor. I don't know if I should tell this story. It might make me sound like, I don't know, whatever. But
we'll cut it. We'll see what happens.
I went to dinner with my realtor, and we were just like flipping through these offers. We're drinking wine. We're like, because there was a whole bunch of equity to build up. These offers are competing with each other. It's like, it was just a party, and then those days disappeared very quickly. So
well, and the thing about it is there's always a flip side to that too. I mean, you have first time home buyers, and then you have folks that maybe if they're at retirement plus, where maybe they're selling and I don't know, they're going to downsize and just pay cash for it, or not really even that if you're in rent, but more times than not, if you're buying a house, you may be selling a house. And if you're selling a house, you're probably buying a house. You're not going to sell a house and then go live in your car.
Right.
So
typically not.
Not often. Unless,
it's not my plan.
Circumstances
anyway,
not ideal if that's
not
the case.
judging anybody if that is.
The funny thing is everyone, the number one question I get, and I'm not even on the mortgage side, is, when's the best time? How do I time the market? And it's like, well, okay, if you're going to sell your house and go buy a new one, it kind of doesn't matter,
right?
Because you're on both sides of that. It's like, well, if it's a seller's market, you're going to get a lot of money and you're going to have an easy time selling it. It's going to be tougher on the buy side. If it's a buyer's market, you're going to get a great deal when you buy. You're going to have a tougher time selling it. So, it's kind of balanced for most folks. And, we have this idea, not necessarily wrong, but you want to time the market and buy it under ideal circumstances. But I can tell you there's people who are getting paid a lot more money than you and I, and their job is about predicting markets, and they're right like 25% of the time. So,
no kidding.
Like you were saying, we don't have a crystal ball. Nobody really knows. And so, I kind of, at this point in my career, just try to tell people, look, do it when it makes sense for you. Focus more on getting the right asset for 100%. You, and, don't put your life aside because of something you saw in the news, and, don't necessarily stop everything and go buy if you're not ready to because of something you saw in the news. Just, whenever it
especially
makes
in our
sense for you,
area, like, I mean, the appreciation in our area. We were just, when we started talking, we were talking about the traffic.
Yeah.
It's because there's a ton of people here, and there's a ton of people that want to live here.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great place to buy a home. You really don't have a whole lot to worry about as far as building the equity and all that. It's, it's better than, I've seen some of these rental prices. I get the application and we ask, what are you paying in rent? And I'm like, oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a lot, and you don't get any of it back either. It's just a tricky thing. But to your point, it is a great market. Charleston has a lot of reasons to exist by itself. I try to talk about this sometimes. Like I like to pick on Cincinnati because, to hell with Joe Burrow. But
I can't believe it was my wife's from Cincinnati.
Well, I use her town as an example a lot because
it's a great town, by the way.
Well, I'm about to tell you why it's not.
Okay,
but all right. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sorry, Cincinnati.
And I did mention I grew up in Pittsburgh too, so I don't have any problems picking on Cincinnati.
It's a lot of folks had this idea that when the rates went up, everything was going to explode and prices were going to drop. And, we knew that wasn't going to happen, but that was what you saw on the news, right? Rates are going to spike and then everything's going to explode, and then it didn't. Yeah. But I think a lot of that has to do with, Charleston having its own reasons to exist. Like Cincinnati tends to follow the national trends pretty closely. And this is the reason I use an example.
Okay.
I'm not saying there's no reason to move to Cincinnati. However, what I found is that if you look at what's happening nationally, Cincinnati's almost doing that to a T. It follows, if the market's going down nationally, if there's bad circumstances, it goes down. If it's great, it goes up. Charleston is very much resilient in the sense that there's a lot of reasons for people to come here, a lot of jobs coming, a lot of tourism. People just love it in general. And it tends to outperform and do its own thing regardless.
Yeah.
So, where if you're in a market that, people really could take or leave, Cincinnati, but if you're in a place like that, you're going to be much more subject to, if the national market's not doing great or rates do come up and there's an external factor that doesn't really correlate to you on a local level, you're exposed to something like that. Yeah. But when you're in an area that kind of has its own localized reasons to grow, even if you have national issues, you're going to be doing better in a bear market, and you're going to be doing really great.
Yeah, everybody's moving here from Cincinnati. I mean, I can't tell you how many applications I get from Jersey.
Jersey's been big
Ohio,
recently, man. What's up with that?
Yeah, New York. We've getting a lot of New Yorkers coming.
Been coming. I don't know. The entire state of Pennsylvania's called me these past few months.
Get out of there. Well, February's coming up there.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, I got to get out of here before February hits. It's miserable there. It's gray and snowy, and there's nothing fun.
I mean, if you're out there shoveling snow and you see a town called Summerville, checks
makes
out.
Sense.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something that the pandemic really escalated. When people look back and they ask about, how that affect, the answer I give is it just took everything and put it like 10 years forward. It just leapfrogged us into the future, because this place has always been popular for retirees. When they make their money in New York or whatever the hell they're at, and then they say, okay, it's time to retire. I don't want to shovel snow. I want to go down south. But now with all the work from home and all that coming on, they don't have to wait to retire. I have so many people who work in New York and live down here now.
Yeah.
So I think that's been...
Well, you grew up here, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I think we were born in Florence, good old Flowtown.
Florence,
baby, let's go. Yeah, over there in Maryland. But yeah, we were in Florence where I was born, but most of my life in Summerville. So we grew up around here, and it's even, I feel like it hasn't been that long, I'm not that old, but it's the way it's changed. Has been crazy,
even in
man.
5 years, it's very different.
Yeah, well, I mean, I went to school at Ashley Ridge,
right,
and Summers Corner was.
It was forest.
Maybe an idea. I don't know.
Marsh,
it was nothing. That road leading out of the school was one lane.
Yeah.
After the football games, you go home. It's ridiculous because it's a bunch of, it's like 1,000, 2,000 high school students on a one-lane road, doing all types of stuff they shouldn't be doing.
You're talking about Bacon's Bridge there?
No, I'm talking about Delmar Highway.
Yeah.
Right outside. On the other side is Bacon's Bridge. But it's same road.
That was one lane?
It was one lane. And there was a high school kids that can't drive. They're like 16. They're in their dad's car after the football game. every time there's a wreck, I mean, it took 2 hours to get 10 miles up the road. That was ridiculous. But
so I go home that way now. So we actually cut like right in front of the high school, and then there's a road that leads back to Summers Corner back there. And you can just tell if you're driving along, the high school kids, because they're just buzzing by you at like 9,000 miles an hour. It's like, okay,
that Honda
yeah,
Civic.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that was a, I don't know if I was the first class. I might have been like the second. I don't know. They had just built it or something like that. Somewhere in that ballpark. It was really early on, but there was no infrastructure around it. It was just this high school that they put out in the woods, and they said, trust me, it'll come. And it did. But
they were right.
Yeah. No, that place has grown. I don't remember how many students were there now compared to, or were there then compared to now, but
I don't know. I think there's 2,000, something like that, somewhere around
in
that.
The school?
In the school?
Well, it's got to be more than that, right?
I don't know.
I think there's like
I know
they're
building there too, like on the campus. I don't know what they're building, but I mean, I'm assuming more classrooms, and
they're doing a lot, man, and they can't seem to build the schools fast enough.
No,
like that's a problem we have in Cane Bay. I'm sure you've seen this with clients, and they buy in Cane Bay. They're a mile from Cane Bay High School, and they figure, okay, my kids will go to Cane Bay. No, you're going to Berkeley, actually.
Right. Yeah,
because there's too many houses, and
I've seen a couple of realtors get bid on that.
Yeah,
because they think they don't know. Finding exactly. They don't maybe do the proper research or something like that.
Yeah, it's a half a mile up the road. Of course, you go to Cane Bay.
All of a sudden, you got an upset client.
14 miles to Berkeley.
Yeah,
yeah. Which in time, kind of the word on the street, or the idea at least is, if you have a small child, or you don't have kids yet and you're going to have them soon, if you're buying in Cane Bay, very likely by the time your kids are going to high school, it'll probably be Cane Bay, or they'll build another school out there.
Yeah.
We don't think 14 miles to Berkeley is going to be indefinite, but that's the difference between private money and public funding, right? A school is going to get built eventually, and private builders, they're going to sell them as quickly as you buy them,
right?
Which tends to be apparently is pretty quick.
Yeah.
So
a
lot going on out there in Cane Bay, but I think they're building a school in Summers Corner too, right? Elementary.
So there is a school. It's done.
Oh, it's done now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So my daughter goes there now.
Okay.
And it's great. It's so nice having the elementary school right in the neighborhood. And I think it's only been open a few years, and they already have to build an addition on the back. Like they're currently in construction.
Well, I'm actually kind of curious to hear your firsthand account on what it's like living in Summers Corner, because I know they're building that Publix, and they're building a strip mall.
Are they?
Yes, they are. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, go talk to the people in Lennar. They'll tell you. But gosh, you're never going to believe this Publix. But
wait till you see it. Yeah, we heard that in 21. But I do think
$60,000 more once the Publix is there.
Yeah. Apparently, I don't know. I don't want to spread rumors on the podcast.
Publix pull out?
No, they're going to build
Breaking news.
They I think they ran into an issue. They were coming down the line, so they had to build this other Publix first, and then they were going to build this one, and something got messed up with the first one.
Oh no!
And allegedly, that's what pushed it back.
A bit of a public scandal.
Yeah.
But you heard it here first, guys.
I am a firm believer that it is coming. Like, I'm not one of the naysayers.
Publix would never leave us straight.
Right?
Man.
No,
I wouldn't ever.
I need their fried chicken and subs, handy there. So the quicker they can get it built.
Go hard on their fried chicken, but they do.
I love that fried chicken. I had it like 2 nights ago, actually.
God bless Publix. Shout out Publix. We're not a sponsor, but if you want to throw me some money, Publix, if you're watching. But
I need cut in on that. I brought the chicken.
We'll give you a portion. But so I wanted to touch on this because my wife, she wasn't raised there, but she was born and spent a lot of her life in Walterboro, good old small town of Walterboro, which has been really popular actually. Because just affordability, right? If you want to buy a house and you don't want to spend $300,000 to $400,000 on it, go out to Walterboro. But anyway, she's around there now. For reference, Walterboro's population is about 6,000 to 7,000 depending on who you ask, and in Summers Corner, there's about 6,000 to 7,000 houses, and you would assume there's more than one person per house. So what I'm getting at is, we see these, they call them master plan communities more and more. In a lot of ways, they're basically small towns. In fact, I think Summers Corner has its own tax district, right?
Yeah. If you look on the Dorchester website, it's Summers Corner. I mean, they're building a fire station.
Right.
There's gonna be a big like resort style pool.
Yeah, water park, little lagoon thing in the neighborhood.
I mean, so we go to church right in the community now. I mean, if I'm working from home or, if somebody's living there working from home, you could like not leave.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting
community.
to is like, is it, I mean, I don't know if it's already like this or you see it coming down the track where, realistically, I mean, yeah, you're in Summerville, but you spend 90% of your life just within the neighborhood.
1,000%. I mean, it's coming.
Yeah. And it feels like Nexton's that way too. You go in Nexton, you're right there in Nexton Square. You could, you would never have to go more than, 2 or 3 miles.
And right now there's only one restaurant there, but I'm sure when they get that Publix built, they are, and there is commercial land there too that I know is going to be developed really soon. I mean, I would say within the next 3 to 5 years, you could live that lifestyle of golf carts. I golf cart everywhere. Yeah. I never leave the community.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, so how do you like that or?
I think, I always tell people it's been great for us. And I think for our stage in life, like we've got the little kids, all their friends are at Sand Hill, for this stage for us, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. Me and the family, the wife and the kids, we're over in Westcott now, which, for reference, if you guys aren't aware, is kind of a baby cane bay Summers Corner, it was like the test. We're gonna see if this works.
Right.
It's
mostly like built in the 90s, right?
No, not cool. So you had some other Windsor Hill was right beside it, but you have Westcott was primarily early 2000s.
Early 2000s.
So most of the houses between 2001 to 06 ish, give or take, depending some other suburbs. They're building some like townhomes out there now. They just slapped up, but for the most part, it was built early 2000s, and with that, they didn't really, it's not like Summers Corner Nexton where they built these things all in mind, but like the Harris Teeter Shopping Center, I believe they actually call it Westcott Plaza, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't actually recall if that was built when Westcott was. I think it probably was, but that's off of Dorchester Road, so it's kind of, it's like for everybody. And I'm sure everyone's welcome at the Summers Corner Publix, but 90% of their business, I'm sure, is going to come from it. So it's kind of sort of that way, but it absolutely fits what we're doing right now. When I go to retire and the kids are grown, I'm not so sure then.
Right, exactly.
But, I mean, we've got, there's Joseph Pye and Fort Dorchester Elementary School in the neighborhood. Yeah. Basically, you have the high school right there. So, for a young family, it's incredibly convenient.
Yeah. The only thing I miss from those developments compared to ours now, like the 90s, 2000s, they always put a golf course.
They did. We do have a golf
Oaks
course.
Was like that. They built a golf course right in there, and so many of those during that time period.
We do get a golf course.
And now I think it's just they don't want to like burn the land. They just want to put more houses.
The dirt
on
got
land.
really expensive. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much money a golf course generates. I'm sure plenty.
I've never tried to buy one.
You and me, let's buy a stake in the Westcott golf course. I'm sure they make out all right, but if you just think about how much dirt's going for these days, because I mean, a new development, you're putting on a 1/6 or 1/8 of an acre lot is pretty normal these days. If you get 1/3 of an acre, you got some land, buddy. You know what I mean? In those developments. So I think just the value is too hard for them to burn, like you were saying.
Well, I think the city owns Westcott Golf Course.
Do they?
I think so. They might. Man, we're gonna get get roasted in the comments, like you idiots. I
have no idea. I don't know. If I
think
pay my taxes, do I get
it
in for free? They don't let me in, but
they should.
It's a good course. It is. People say it's
like
really
Westcott,
hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. My skill level at golf kind of makes all courses a really tricky course. So people will say it's a really hard course. So maybe it's good that I go there just to give a reason. I don't know.
No, it's well kept, and I will say, man, this is another one might get weird in the comments, but like a couple of years ago, like I would go there, and like some of the people that work there. I feel like they were very unwelcung.
Really?
I'd be like,
you were an outsider.
Oh, man, maybe that was it.
So
maybe
they're
like
Westcott, or
they know I live in Summers Corner. Yeah, they're like, go back there.
Yeah,
but they've gotten a lot better recently.
Okay.
I feel like it's been
shout out to the welcoming nature of Westcott Golf Course.
Yeah.
That's
very
crazy.
Approachable.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get out in golf nearly as much as I'd like to.
It's another issue with those kids. I know. Yeah. They won't let me.
They won't let you golf, man.
My handicap has gone way up in the past 6 years since my firstborn.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there's a clip of me out there somewhere that someone's posted. My swing is atrocious. I mean, it's like, good. I don't know.
Maybe we could put that down below here in the comments or something. I want to see that.
Yeah, guys. I don't know. It's the worst thing you ever see. It's kind of like the golf equivalent to when you see someone bowl and they kind of use two hands.
That's being bullied.
Yeah, it's like that for golfing. It's just, absolutely atrocious. But generally, I can hit the ball, so that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Big ups on that. But yeah, you don't see that as much. And kind of harkening back to Walterboro, what people go out there partially is because of the affordability, but also, if you're out there, a half an acre lot is pretty normal in those subdivisions, even in the subdivisions and the subdivisions. But the most recent one that was built out there, I believe, would have been in the late 70s. In terms of large scale subdivision, new construction in that area is kind of like, someone will buy a lot, build a house, but in terms of full blown subdivision, hadn't done a lot since 70s and 80s. So a lot of folks, they're kind of drawn to that larger lot. Of course, you got the commute factor to factor in as well. But people haven't been too off put about it. I've been seeing quite a bit of buyers come out that way. So it's a good area. Maybe Walterboro don't want me saying this, but they kind of have this idea where they
get
sort
the
of want
secret away.
I know, they hate me. They hate it when I talk about Edisto. You're not supposed to talk about Edisto. They always do that. But, I don't know. It's a lot slower pace in life, but if that's what you're into, and like I said, when it comes time to retirement, might be the move.
Yeah. I could see Edisto.
Edisto's
that's gorgeous down there.
Love Edisto. You better Kings Market.
I haven't.
I'm gonna try to.
I've only been to the golf course actually.
If you know Kings Market, tell them to come on the pod. I want them on really bad. I love that place. It's this. So when you're going out to Edisto, there's just this little. You wouldn't necessarily even know it's a shop, but it's basically a farm stand.
Okay.
But they got all types of local products. They get. Actually, you can buy like steaks there. They got a little freezer, but it's from some farm somewhere in South Carolina. All types of local products. It's all grown there. And it's just this really cute place, man. That's great. Right. Yeah. Stop by there, get some banana pudding.
Oh, okay.
They got they got the Kings Market banana pudding sit on the beach. God bless.
Hell yeah.
It's an incredible place, man. Not that there's anything wrong with Folly and Isle of Palms, but I don't
Different
know.
vibe there.
It's a very you're much more likely to, encounter the locals there, I feel. Which, shout out to Folly and whatnot, but big tourist destination.
Yeah.
So it gets kind of packed out, and it's secrets out on those.
Right.
People found out. Do you find more of your clients being from out of state, or do you stay kind of 50-50, or how's that?
Yeah, I would say probably 60-40, 40% from out of state.
Okay.
A lot of my business is very driven by my, personal network and my personal sphere.
Yeah.
So that probably tends to lean it a little bit more,
Yeah.
Closer to home here. But I mean, if you're going to work in our space, you're going to work with people from out of state.
100%. Yeah.
At some point. So
yeah. And I actually like kind of what you were talking about there is a lot of your business comes from your personal sphere. People don't necessarily realize, like we've talked about, and we know when you get into this industry, you work for an office as a lender, you work for a brokerage as an agent, but for the most part, it's like, figure it out on yourself. So when you're going out there and talking back to the first few months to a year, when obviously you've got a lot of traction now, but getting into that for the first time, people, first of all, you're not from here, so there's that. And then the people that do know you here know you as a band teacher.
Right.
So what is that like, jumping in for you? I mean, I know what it's like for me, sucked, but for you, getting out and trying to, get that train moving from a dead stop. What was that transition like, and how did you kind of get out of it?
Yeah, it's challenging, especially like we were saying, in a challenging market.
Yeah.
Those things, when they compound like that, it can make it even tougher. But I had a pretty good network, within my teaching community, which was nice that I could kind of lean on some of those personal relationships. And I taught music and, had some relationships built in with other musicians as well.
Yeah.
That I could kind of lean on there. The hard part was, I went out and met a whole bunch of like financial planners and, CPAs and people like in those circles. And those were the relationships that I really had to go out and like generate, but when you find people who, like yourself, who are also like in the grind, people like to work with people who are also hustling. And
for sure.
So I think that kind of, people see that and definitely, you want to be drawing the right people to you. And, people want to work with people who are competent and getting out and getting after it,
100%, man. Yeah. But it's tough starting from the ground up.
Yeah.
And, we kind of talked about this,
it's no joke.
On the first pod I had with Zach on here. I mean, when you're getting out and, he also came in from out of state, and, when you're starting from the ground up, whatever community you have, it's so important for a smaller business. And, when you don't have this massive marketing budget, because you can throw money at just about any problem.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, just starting out, we'll go buy 15 billboards and, go send out 10,000 mailers
Well, I
a
can
week.
tell you what my marketing budget still is.
Oh, yeah.
It's still zero.
Nailed it, yeah.
It's 100% network and just personal sphere.
It ends up
drives the whole thing.
Obviously, that's a $0 marketing budget, about the best margin you can have. But it comes from a place of necessity, right?
Yeah.
When you're starting off, you don't, unless you just save up a bunch of money and trust yourself a lot to burn through it at the beginning. You really have to find these kind of guerrilla marketing, creative ways to go about it.
And honestly, I think it's better to do it that way.
Yeah.
Like, not only is I think it better for lead generation and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to work with people who want to work with me,
For sure.
I mean, the whole going out and buying leads thing is great. But I want to work with people who are genuinely referring me, because they want to work with me. So,
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the community aspect should not be overlooked. I think people, especially if you go online, that's the trouble too. We were talking about the headlines. A lot of, young realtors who are getting into their first year, just like anybody else, they go online and they go, okay, well, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
And they try to figure it out. And if you go online, you Google, how to get leads. What person comes up is 20 people trying to sell you leads, So you find all that and he goes, oh, if I just give this guy $1,000,
Right.
Right. And you got to stay out of that, and there's not a lot of profit incentive for anybody to put anything online for the real way to do it. But it's just, connecting with your peers and trying to connect with your community and just find a way to add value other than, buying somebody.
Yes.
We see that so much, man. And it's so standard that people don't think about it. But when you really take a moment and you go, when you're purchasing leads, it's kind of crazy. It's like, well, why are you working with this guy? It's like, oh, he bought my information on the internet. And so and then he called me and I guess we're working together now. It's kind of like, well, that's a little weird,
Yeah.
It's a strange way to go about that. And I don't know, how you build a relationship with somebody that way. How do you build the trust? Because they don't know you from Adam. They didn't come to you. Somehow they registered somewhere and you reach out to them. But hey guys, going to take a quick break from the show. We're going to be doing something new on the podcast. So for all of our previous guests, we're going to be featuring them as a quick free advertisement on all of our future shows, just to continue to help highlight our local businesses. So being that this is in fact our second episode, we're going to go ahead and give out a shout out from the first episode. So for all of your handyman needs, whether it's a bathroom remodel, new kitchen countertops, new flooring, whatever you need, any handyman service, make sure to check out Zach of All Trades with Mr. Zachary Chapman. You can find him in our first episode if you haven't seen that yet. And I will put his number right there for you to check out. And give Zach Chapman at Zach of All Trades a call for all your handyman needs. Now we'll go ahead and jump back to the show. Hey, hope you guys are enjoying the show. Just want to take a quick moment to let you know we are also brought to you by the C-Town Sales team, brokered by LPT Realty. When I'm not podcasting, turns out I'm actually a pretty decent realtor. So if you find yourself looking to buy a house or you're looking to sell a house, feel free to give me a call or a text at 843-703-9970 or visit ctownsales.com. It'd be a great way to support our show, and as it turns out, I'm actually pretty decent at my job. So if you'd like to get into the real estate market anytime soon, again, buying or selling, give me a call at 843-703-9970 or visit ctownsales.com. Thank you so much.
And that's what I see mostly with the out of state, like we're saying. People who are moving here and they actually don't know anybody. You know? So, and man, that's a crapshoot. Like if I was thinking about that now, like what realtor I would find if I was just like Googling realtors. Yeah. Goodness.
That's a decent enough headshot. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. That would be a nightmare, man. Moving to a different state. Yeah. I mean, especially I've got the, we got the curse of knowing, what I mean? Because you kind of, if you're not in the industry, you got maybe this blissful naivety. You're like, oh, well, they seem like they're a nice professional person. Then you meet half these guys, you're like, woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we were just joking about the, like if somebody goes on and they post in like a Facebook group, hey, I'm thinking about moving here, and the 350 realtors that like comment on it.
Yeah. The neighborhood groups, it's crazy, dude. It's insane. I mean, I don't know. It just feels so weird. I don't think I've ever commented on one of those. I'm in the, the Westcott groups, and, it's like, I mean, I guess I should throw my hat into the ring, but it's just
some people are great at it. I mean, some people make it work, and I'm not knocking that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it, but it feels weird. Like just someone, hey, I want to sell a house, and then you're just swarm or this armada of like, I don't know, it's crazy, man. But I think that kind of goes back to what we were talking about before with, being patient and understanding that it's, a transaction for you and it's a big move for them. And, having that, it sounds so obvious, but so many people in our industry don't get it, is like having that empathy to be like, that's a person,
right?
That's not just a deal. That's not another transaction. Like they're trusting you with $400,000. If you're selling a house, that's a kind of a lot.
It's kind of a lot,
and it's a big,
to most people. Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's just such an important thing for them. And, I think people get way too caught up in the, like, how do I get clients, and not nearly as focused on the, how do I serve clients?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
And for long-term success, if you're not, I get, there probably are people out there that are turn and burn still and have had good careers, but it depends how you want to approach it too.
Yeah.
How you look at your job and what you're really looking for from, the job that you work.
Well, and look, I know realtors, man, and that's what they've always done, and they've been doing it for like 15, 20 years. Yeah. And you know what? It works out. It's a way to make a living. But, and that was kind of when I first got into it, not knowing anything, that was the way we did it. We didn't have any other way. I didn't, know anybody. I was pretty young when I got into it. So, I grew up around here. I knew people, but they're all like, 19, 20 years old, and they can't buy it. You know what I mean? It didn't matter who I knew. They weren't buying it. It's now
that's one of the challenges that I didn't actually kind of like have to work through. A lot of the people that start when they're younger, and you're trying to convince a 40-year-old to trust you, you know what I mean? And you're like a 23, 25-year-old kid.
No, I had this god awful line that I used to use when people, because that. I don't really get it anymore, which is, a little sad, but I used to get, they go, how old are you? And I go, and I would go, older than I look, younger than I feel, and
then just try to move on.
And they were like, no, but for, I'm like, 20. I don't know how old I was. I might have been 20, was I 21 when I started?
Were you really?
I was
21.
It might have been, I don't know. It might have been 21, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's easier than 18. I know some that started at 18. And that's tough, but,
I always think though too, like if you can get in and you can grind it out, and build a business over the course of 4 years, like if you look at it that way compared to going to college and going into debt, and getting buried in student loans, get out there, figure out how to sell, learn some sales skills, and if you stick with real estate or not, like you're gonna have some chops.
Well,
as
for
far
sure.
as sales go, So
and
getting in and figure it out is great.
A lot of the times, they may still be living with their parents.
Yeah.
Which in a commission-based role, that first year, if you have that luxury of having some support system in place, where, or even if you're older, if, you have a spouse who can take care of bills, at least, for a certain amount of period. I tell them like that first year, like, yes, get a check. That's fine. But really for the first year, maybe 6 months, I say first year, just focus on figuring out how to do your job.
Yeah.
Because God forbid you do all this and you try to get a client, you finally get one, and then you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
Imagine you bought your first deal, you have only one review and it sucks. You can't do that. So I said, that first year, just learn what you're doing, figure it out, get to the point where you're actually good. You and I both know it's far too easy to obtain a license because it doesn't really teach you much about actually doing the job, right?
No.
So, take that time to actually figure out what you're doing. And that's a bit of an advantage the younger ones have, is they're more likely to have a support system in place.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
I was already had a wife and kids by that point, but generally.
Things are happening quickly.
Oh, yeah. Speed running life, dude. Yeah. It's all good, but it gives you a reason, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We talk about this as entrepreneurs, what gets you out of bed in the morning and be like, I gotta feed my kid.
Yeah.
You can't just, I can go without a meal. I don't, but I could. The son, probably should feed him.
Yeah. Don't want what is it? DSS? DSS calling it?
CPS?
Child Protective Services.
Yeah. No, they don't like it when we want them feed them.
Away from us.
No, we'd prefer they keep their distance. So we try to 3 square meals for solid.
I'm sure they have their hands full anyway.
Yeah, no, busy people.
Don't want to add to the plate.
No, I couldn't imagine working that job, dude. Goodness gracious. Oh my God, what a depressing thing that would be. Not to get on that topic, but let's talk CPS. But chop it up about neglecting the household, man. But Yeah, no, I'm really happy to see things have been going so well for you, man. And I think I don't know, we haven't talked about it recently, but you really should be giving yourself a lot of credit. You're doing great. All things considered, a lot of people don't make it in this industry, man. Particularly when you started. I mean, how many lenders dropped out this past year?
Oh man, I saw the stat the other day. We're down to I think less than 90,000 nationwide or something like that.
What was it before that? Do you remember?
When I started, I'm gonna butcher these stats. I don't know. I'm gonna get roasted, but
I
want to say, there's only about a third left.
Yeah.
From when I started, there was somewhere around like 300K.
Yeah. Well,
nationwide, and it's less than 90.
It's
now.
crazy. Because at least in real estate, if you can always at least sell. If the buyers, it's hard for them. You go, oh, we can always list houses. At least you got something. They won't sell as fast if it's not a buyer's market, but you've always got something. If the buyers decrease and you're a lender, man, that's got to be brutal. I don't know what you can't sell the houses, right? So what do you do? I mean, it's not as bad as it was in like 08 and 09. I'm sure that.
So I've heard.
That's the word on the street.
I don't know. I've heard some of the people that were around during that time actually comparing the two. Yeah,
really.
Just because I think there was so much competition the past couple of years too. Like as we entered the past couple of years, there was so many LOs, there was so many realtors. Yeah. So when it started to thin out, it was just, and it's still very competitive. I mean, there are people in our market though that, that are just crushing. Yeah. So
yeah. Well, no, that's a good point. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any perspective for how popular it would have been in 06, 07 leading up to it, but I can say that because it was this lightning hot market in 2020, 2021, I do think you had so many people who got into it, like I was saying earlier in that time. So yeah, if you think about it in terms of saturation, it may have been worse. I mean, the market overall is a lot better than it was then, but if you look at relative numbers of how many competing lenders or realtors or whatever, it very well could be. I'd actually be kind of interested to check that out.
Yeah, compare the two.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it, but a lot of people jumped in 21, man. And said, this could be easy. It was for like a week.
How smart was I starting in 2023?
In hindsight, you are very smart for that, man. I'm telling you. I know it doesn't feel like it, but there's so many people who have it just like I've used this comparison. You remember when GameStop jumped up like 300%? It's like these kids who bought GameStop and they're like, I'm Warren Buffett. You're not Warren Buffett. That's not normal, And the problem with that is you get this precedent and this idea of, like, okay, this is how you do your job.
Right.
And then you realize, that was a historical anomaly that has never happened before and probably won't happen again. So in a lot of ways, you've kind of figured out how to actually do your job in a balanced market or a tougher market.
Yeah.
And you're not crippled by this, like, how do I, figure out how to work? Because these people, it's almost like they started again in 23.
Yeah.
They started in 21 or 2020, whatever, but then it's this like rebirthing into like actually having to work. So.
Man, and I'm so big on systems. Like I couldn't survive without like systems. And if anything, the past couple of years has taught you like your systems better be. Like when a client comes in, like you better have a system for, for helping them out. Because
100%.
if not, they're going to go find somebody else.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're not, if you don't have this huge clout, like I'll just pick on Rocket Mortgage because to hell with them.
I have no problem with that.
Small business podcast. Nothing wrong with Rocket Mortgage.
I don't think Rocket Mortgage is concerned.
You think
with
they're gonna be mad? They won't sue us, right? But you don't think they get Rocket Lawyer involved? They got that now.
Do they really?
They have Rocket Lawyer. I'm sure that's definitely a great idea.
They are casting quite the wide net.
Surely that will never blow up in your face. Your attorneys from Rocket. Lawyer. Give me a public defender. Good God. But anyway, so. Yeah, where was I going with this? Was I just talking shit? No. Think about Rocket Mortgage. I'm not going to sit here and say that they have bad service. I would never say that. But if they did, it's okay because you're going to see 15 Rocket Mortgage commercials in the span of a day and a half. And so, there's that. But when you're doing something like yourself on a local level, you kind of can't drop the ball.
Right.
And I mean, because they don't really know you from Adam necessarily, unless it was a referral, which is great that you built up. But if you're a local guy and you're not this national company, it's spending $1 bajillion. You got to have your systems in place because you got to be excellent every time.
Yeah. Especially as you're building your reputation.
Yeah.
Somebody gives you one chance and then,
Well, that goes back to what you were saying before, right? Is how it's more sustainable to, build a referral-based business, because in a lot of ways, subconscious or not, it does hold you more accountable.
Yeah.
When you realize not only is this my job right now, but really my future business is contingent upon this, because I'm relying on, my experience with them to get me future business. So.
Well, and the same thing that we were chatting about earlier, like, it's not a numbers game.
Yeah.
To me, where it's just, I'm just trying to churn and burn numbers, like trying to like solve people's problems of buying a home. So I mean, it's just a completely different mindset than somebody, one of the national banks is going to have.
Well, and I wish there was more people saying that message, man.
Yeah.
I found that if you show up and you do your job to the best of your ability and the most, just honestly put your best foot forward, it usually works out.
Yeah.
But you ever been to any of these conferences, these like mortgage conferences, these real estate conferences?
I've done a couple like virtually.
Oh no, dude, I've been to a couple. We went to some.
I've got some good coaching out of some of them.
Yeah, I'm sure some of them are fine.
Some of the mortgage ones, I don't know. I couldn't. Oh,
the real estate ones, it's just like
the realtor. Yeah,
they got this friggin' David Goggins type of guy up there, and it's just like, you gotta crush the leads. It's like, bro, I'm selling a house. And it's like, you gotta be a killer, man. You gotta wake up. You gotta run 10 miles. A lot of triathletes in real estate, but it's like, you gotta do this, and it's the mindset. You gotta grind. It's like, I get that it's sales. I understand that, but like, it's different than the ShamWow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a much more intimate process than just like, I don't know. Sales is a big spectrum, man.
Yeah.
And if you're selling somebody's home or helping somebody buy their home or whatever, to me, that needs to be like, you got to chill out a little bit. I'm not saying be lazy, but like,
well, especially when you're client facing, like we are, like we are the ones that are really handling, the emotions that come with home buying or selling, you know, like there's a lot wrapped up into that, and just being able to relate to people like that. Yeah. It's
for sure.
It's a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot more intimate. I want to ask you about that because, we're two sides of the same coin. You're on the financing side, but what has kind of surprised you? I mean, you were teaching steel drums, so this is neat. Don't want to do that anymore. I'd like to go into mortgages. I'm sure you had some expectation for what this is going to be like, and I'm sure there's probably some surprises that came to you as well. So give me an example of some stuff that you kind of said, okay, this is what I thought it was, and then maybe something that is completely opposite to what you thought you'd be doing.
Yeah, I would say the importance of a great team around you.
Yeah.
Because there are, man, I think I saw another thing too. To close on a home, it takes more than like 20 professionals to do I didn't realize, I don't think, how convoluted and muddy the process is, even for a smooth transaction, just because there's so many people involved.
There's a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot of moving parts, So exactly like what we were just saying, the importance of, I mean, there's still even local lenders. A lot of them don't meet with their clients. They'll send over figures, they'll email, they'll maybe, a few phone calls, but like I meet all of my clients eyeball to eyeball, like, and we go through their process, and just the importance of that, I think, and how few people are doing that in our industry.
Yeah, you're right. I think there's something very, I understand that there's people that do it a certain way and they make a lot of money. So I'm not saying that's the wrong way or it's bad or whatever. That's not what I'm trying to put out there. But, just sitting down, shaking someone's hand and looking them in the eye.
Yeah.
How much does that matter in terms of just, it's not objectively affecting how you do your job. Somebody who can shake a hand is not necessarily better at doing any particular thing, but just in terms of making somebody feel comfortable and feeling like an actual priority.
Yeah.
Because you could be down in Bora Bora and do your entire job remotely if you wanted to, right? But
there's successful LOs doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking that.
No, if you want to sling loans from a boat, that's great.
Right.
Yeah.
But and that's kind of, I think, one of the important things too, like we're talking about small businesses. One of the reasons you get into it is because you get to design your business how you want to run it, So just being intentional about that and not letting that business run you, but okay, this is how I want to design this. This is the lifestyle that I want to live, and this is how I want to serve my clients, We have the advantage of doing that.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of freedom, and that's something that I've been extremely blessed to find, and kind of a realization I've made is that, not everybody is my client.
Yeah.
There's
that's
huge, because you
huge.
get to make your business kind of in your image and create what you want. There's people that just, I'm sure can't stand me, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because it's not, I'm like, I don't want to work with you anyway. It's not like that, but it's like I'm probably not the best fit for you.
Right. We're not going to be a best fit for everybody.
No, and you might, on paper, you could be leaving deals on the table. Yeah. But how much better of an asset can you be for the right client? And that's something that I definitely didn't realize in my first couple of years. Cause again, it was just the brokerage I was at, we had a bunch of leads coming in and you called them and that's how you did your thing.
Right.
And not knocking that, for the record, they're doing very well. They have a great business model, and I'm certainly not knocking that. But when I broke off from that and started my own team, it just became this at first we sort of tried to replicate that model, and then I got to the point where I go, well, I don't actually have a boss anymore.
Right.
I can kind of just do this however I want to. And the great thing about that is, every client that I've worked with since then has been someone that I feel connected to. And I feel like I'm doing my job better. I don't necessarily know if there's anything on paper. I'm not writing contracts differently. I'm not doing whatever, but you feel more of a connection. It becomes, more intimate. And I think that just, lends yourself to doing a better job with that.
Yeah.
But I love what you do when you sit down with people and talk to them. A lot of people never meet their lender, man.
No.
It's just a voice on the phone.
Right. It may be.
Yeah, a lot of the time. Yeah,
it might just be an email.
They maybe aren't there.
Yeah.
And you talked about how many hands are involved in the organization and putting together everything with a deal. But most of those individuals never will reach out to a client.
Right.
And so as the lender, you're kind of sort of the face of the whole operation. You know what I mean? Whether you did it or not, you did it. And you've got to maintain that. And I don't know how you would go about, keeping everything in order and just keeping somebody to a point where they feel comfortable about what's going on.
Yeah.
Because everything can be going fine and someone can still panic.
Sure.
If they just don't feel like they know what's going on with a $500,000 loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so having that connection, I think, is going to be is pretty important, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what is your current? You're with who now?
Premier Nationwide Lending.
Premier Nationwide.
So
it is
are
nationwide.
we're right over Goose Creek, actually.
Yeah. Nationwide.
Premier.
All the way from Summers Corner to Goose Creek. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our parent company is Lower.
Okay.
Which is they've been great. Love working for Lower and Premier. So it's a really great team. My branch manager has run the office over there in Goose Creek for like 30 years. So it has a lot of the same things that we're talking about, this, local feel, knows everybody, has a great reputation in the community, which is great.
Yeah. Having people you can trust matters a lot, man. And building the brand is, it's not just, obviously you do it on a personal level, you build out Jake Cummings, but, being a part of a larger company that already has a foothold in that can be pretty helpful at times, I'm sure.
Yeah. That and just being around, people have been doing it that long is just such a benefit because, you get to see how they work every day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important too, man. There's a lot of, kind of a cutthroat mentality, and it's commission based and I get that. And people want to, sometimes be competitive. So if you're going to be a part of a team, finding, just a positive environment to be in where it's like, hey, we're lifting each other up. It's not just like, I want to get this, and if I have it, you can't type of deal.
Yeah.
So,
and there is enough, even in the past couple of years, there's been plenty to go around. There's plenty of deals to go around. There's really no need for in-house competitiveness, and like we're competitive, like the other LOs in there, like we want to,
But there's a right and a wrong way to do it, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. But there's a way to do it and still be supportive of
it's
not being an idiot.
There's I can win without you losing.
Right.
100%. So no, definitely love that, man. You got to be around the right people. So many folks, when they go out and they take this entrepreneurial path, they've got it in their mind. Okay, it's me versus the world.
Right.
It's like the world's kind of tough. I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can take on the world by yourself.
Our town's not that big either.
No.
Like people know each other.
Yeah, and it's okay to be self-motivated and entrepreneurial and all these things, man. But there's a lot of value in finding a community, even if it's not a community where you're marketing for referrals, just community of your competition, even that can be a huge asset as well.
Yeah.
I love to see small businesses lifting each other up. Like a food truck, even.
Yeah.
Like shouting out another one of their food truck brethren. You know what I mean? Well, unless you're pretty hungry, you're probably not eting at 3 different food trucks at once, right? So you say, oh, well, if they buy my taco, they won't buy their pretzel,
though.
But nothing wrong with it. But I love to see when they're kind of lifting each other up, because that's obvious direct competition. But there's just nothing wrong with being within that community. And I pick on Walmart a lot because why the hell not? But look, I would rather support my local community, knowing that if I can lift them up, it's fine. We're all fighting Walmart, man.
Right.
We're all doing battle against them and Rocket Mortgage.
Walmart, Rocket.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you are involved in a small business, like how hard it is,
for sure.
And how much blood, sweat, and tears that you have to put into it. So, yeah.
Speaking of that, being a father, how do you balance that? And has
Speaking
that been
of blood, sweat, and tears? That's what it's like.
That's exactly the transition I was going for. Speaking of incredible adversity,
try raising a couple children.
Yeah. If you can raise kids, you can start a business. It's considerably harder to raise kids. But how do you go about that balance? I mean, what's the day in the life look like for you?
Yeah, so I'm up early and try to get my workout in. 5 a.m. We're hitting it, and then the kids are getting off to school, so I'm trying to get it done before they get off, and then I'm working. And try really hard to be home for dinner, and which I am most nights. So
do you find that you've been able to kind of achieve a better balance with your home life prior to or after taking a more entrepreneurial route?
Man, it's like there's no other option, right now, because, I have to be in their lives. So,
absolutely.
I really strive for that. And real estate too, that's an industry that lends itself to working nights and weekends. And you can let it devour your life quick. But again, it just comes back to that. I think being intentional. Okay, this is how I'm intentionally going to spend my time. This is how I block time out on my calendar. And I think that's huge. Like having blocked out time. This is it. And this is how I follow it. And this is how I live my life. And there's no gray area with that.
Yeah. I've talked to a lot of people, and it sometimes I think if you don't really understand what they're saying, it can sound like you're being more distant when I say this, but it's like scheduling family time as if it were a work appointment.
Yes.
And that sounds like, it's like just another job. It's not that it's a job. It's that I'm putting it on the calendar as like, this is a thing that's going to happen. This is scheduled. And if somebody else wants to book an appointment, look, I've already got something on my books right now. And just having the understanding, look, we all have bills, and I get that.
Yeah.
But sure, it's going to sound cheesy, but there's no deal that is ultimately you're going to look back on it in 20 years and be like, yeah, you know what? His recital sucked anyway. And, I could have closed $1 million. It's just like, it can wait. And having that is so important for longevity too.
And you mentioned the things learning over the course of the past 2 years. Like that's one of the huge things is clients and realtors too, because I work with a lot of different realtors. They will treat you how you let them treat you.
Oh yeah. If you text them back at 2 a.m. one time, that is when they text you.
And I think that's a massive thing to learn, is setting expectations and then sticking to them. And people, they'll still work with you. You know, some of the highest producing LOs, like way beyond me, they know how to structure their time, and they have great families. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah, no, what I found is just honesty, man, because if you don't tell them necessarily what's going on, they may have this in their mind that you're just ignoring them. Like if I'm at one of my son's football games, or if I'm sitting down for dinner with my family and I'm not taking this call right now, I try not to just ignore it, because then the mind wanders. They're like, why isn't he responding? Is he ignoring me? Is there something wrong with it? But if you just say, hey, I'm at my son's football game. Hey, I've just sat down with dinner with my family. Very seldom are they going to go, well, stop that.
And I've got 5 or 6 auto replies because there's only a couple things that I could be doing.
Fair enough.
So
Well, no, man, because that goes back to we talked about is working within your clients. I've never once had a situation where I've said, hey, look, I'm my son's little, award ceremony or whatever the heck he has going on, there's honor roll or whatever. There's never a scenario where I've sent that text and then they've been like, so take the call anyway, and if that would not be the client that is attracted to me at this point, that's not the type of individual. And again, it's not like I'm too good for you. I don't want to work with you, but it's just like look, maybe a 120 hour a day, a week,
right?
120 hour
feels
week.
like that sometimes.
Yeah. 120 hour week and just, no sleep, no kids, single bachelor that's just going to work 24/7. Maybe that's your guy.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that dude. And I'm not, if you just want like a robot machine, hey, that's fine. They're going to do fine. They'll do okay. You'll do okay.
Yeah.
But when you have control of your business and you can create it the way you want it to be, it allows you that a lot more, man. And people won't respect it. Entrepreneurs are so scared of turning away sales.
Right.
As a small business, you don't necessarily always know where your next business is coming from, but
and you nailed it with boundaries. Like identifying your ideal client too,
Yeah.
And like, these are the people that I want to work with. You don't have to work with everybody.
Yeah. No.
Don't have to.
No. Yeah. No.
I'm not going to anyway. So
nothing that forces it, man. And so just having that balance is crucial. And I found that honesty, because that was not something that I always knew to do. I would kind of be nervous in my first year about being like, I don't want to tell them that I'm like with my family because then I think I'm taking time off. And I was really apprehensive. And in hindsight, it sounds silly, but at the time, again, just starting off, it was like, you got to build that. And I was just so nervous. I would, if anything, I'd be like, I'm with another client or something, and it's like, it's not client, your son, but like, as you grow into the industry, you just realize that's such a foolish approach to take. And people are not ever going to look down on you for, that. Now, if you're, taking a week off because, GTA 6 came out, slightly different, you know what I mean?
It was a very specific example. I don't know if that was,
dude, it's,
I think I played the first GTA. That was the last one that I put
the first one was on like the Nintendo 64. When was the first GTA, dude?
I played it on a original PlayStation.
People didn't see me for a week when Pong came out.
Come on, Super Mario Brothers though. That was
Yeah, no, I did take about 48 hours when College Football 25 came out. I'm not proud of it, but I did.
I am excited that it started back up. I was like, oh, thank goodness.
So sick of Madden, dude. Give me college football any day of the week. Hey, that's actually something that sounds like I'm joking, but if our viewers are from the Low Country, and they know that this is not at all. You came from Pittsburgh. How shocking was college football to you, man?
Well, no, because I went to West Virginia University.
Oh, yeah.
So big time college football.
The receiver that was decent? That one time?
Oh, man. Super long list.
Pretty sure it was just the one.
Where do you want me to start? Tavon Austin?
Yeah, that's the one.
So, he was playing there when I was in school.
Oh, really?
So I got to watch him.
That guy was a dog.
Yeah, he was like watching a video game out there. Like, well, that team, not to get me started, but that whole team, they should have won the national championship in 07. That was a tough go.
Yeah.
We don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but
yeah.
So, loved college football.
Okay.
And still do. So I was. It wasn't too much of a change in the mindset.
That's I hear that so much from my folks from out of town, if they're coming down from up north, and for what, like I said, for what Jersey and Pennsylvania has just been on me lately. I don't know what it is. I guess technically my mother has family in Philly. I don't know what God's doing to give me all the Philly people, but it is what it is. But that's just, they always are like, what is college football? You guys are all Panthers fans. I'm like, nobody cares about the Panthers. You are assigned at birth, Clemson or Carolina, and then you take that as a blood oath, and you don't have to have anyone in your family that's ever went. It's the most important thing in your life. But there's just different cultural things, and that's kind of what I was trying to segue into there. Moving down from Pittsburgh, or Pittsburgh, right?
Pittsburgh,
that's right.
Yeah.
What other cultural differences have you found living in the Low Country now?
That's a great question.
Compared to what it is up there in good old Steel City.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. They're called the Yinzers.
Never heard such a thing.
I've never heard. So it'd be like it's from like, oh man.
I'd be like apprehensive to call someone a yinzer.
Yinzer.
Feels like a little bit.
I don't think it's too derogatory.
Okay.
I mean, I'm from there, so I guess I can say it.
You
but
can
it's
say
like,
it, yeah.
no, I think anybody could say it.
All right.
It'd be like, like if a group of people were going, to the Harris Teeter. Be like, oh, Yins are going over to Harris Teeter over there. Yins.
Okay. So it's like, it's
like a y'all.
It's almost a use guys.
Use guys.
That's a New York. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so it's
guys.
so it's not a pronoun.
No,
it's just a word. Okay.
But so like Yinzers.
Oh yeah, Yinzers doing okay.
Stuck.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yinzers. But Yinzers are I think a lot of the same kind of qualities. Like the people I think who are from here are very hardworking. Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh's a steel city. Yeah. People grew up like working in the steel mills. Like a lot of that is kind of
is that still a
baked
thing up
into
there?
the culture? No, not really.
Oh,
But
okay.
They're still hanging on. We're
still their identity. Like,
but I think that mindset is still there.
For sure, yeah.
Like, wake up, and it's just like we're talking about with the entrepreneurial. Like, wake up, put your work boots on, and go to work.
Hell yeah.
So
it's pretty sweet. Yeah. So were you like in Pittsburgh, or were you like?
No, I was in the burbs.
Okay.
Yeah. Outside of it's called Irwin, Pennsylvania.
Irwin.
But yeah. So
shout out Irwin.
Yeah, shout out Irwin. Anybody listening from Irwin, Pennsylvania?
All the Irwin boys back home. Rise up in the comments. Shout out Irwin.
You're gonna get flooded.
Oh, I hope. Yeah.
All the Yinzers from Irwin.
The Yinzer from Irwin. Yeah. Bring them out. Aaron Rodgers doing great, guys.
Man. It's hard to watch. I don't know.
Dude, he was slinging that thing around there, dude. Got like 4 touchdowns.
I gotta be honest, he's just so hard to root for.
Well,
like,
yeah,
he's such a wacko. I don't know.
Yeah, he's been reborn. Don't you know? Haven't you heard?
I've heard. All right, he's told everybody.
Yeah. So. Don't you know? Yeah, I don't know. I was watching that, and I'm like, I don't know if is he going to sustain that throughout the season, or is that just like one hate-fueled game against the Jets? I don't know.
We'll see.
And
his body gonna hold up? I
don't know. On that. I don't know. Yeah, anyone can beat Justin Fields. Holding that grudge too.
Yeah.
Screw you, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Respectfully. Yeah. But
not an Ohio State fan either. So,
no. There's a lot of Ohio State fans on here.
There
is. You're talking about your wife coming out from Cincinnati. I was like, yeah, that absolutely checks out. We had, I don't know, it was like 2012-ish. We just got a flood of them. I don't know if governor just wrote a letter. It seemed like we got everybody from Ohio coming in. I wasn't in real estate then, obviously.
That has like shifted to the Jersey and New York. It feels from the Ohio. Yeah, less Ohioans.
I don't know if there's anyone left in Ohio. But
they all left.
Joe Burrow, and that's it. But I mean, it's kind of interesting hearing that, because there's there's 2 types of clients that come down from up north, and what I found is there's the ones that are coming from a major city, and that can sometimes be a culture shock.
Yeah.
And then what's maybe surprising to a lot of people from down south to hear is that outside of the city is shockingly similar.
Right.
In terms of just, the vibes.
I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and also, living downtown Charleston is honestly not even really comparable to even living in like Ridgeville.
Right.
Those are kind of 2 different animals. Downtown Charleston is even different from West Ashley. It's like not the same. It's closest we have to a city, nothing like Pittsburgh, I'm sure, but you get the point that I'm going with. But, for the most part, people kind of have this idea coming into the South that, it's this rootin' tootin' thing. And I'm like, I don't know if you've been to the country of Pennsylvania, but it's pretty rootin' tootin' out there too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, we ain't got I'm sure you guys have trains and stuff up there.
There's some trains running around.
Yeah. Well, we haven't built public transportation yet. We got trains from the port, but aside from the public transport thing, I don't know how big of a difference it is. I don't know. I don't hang around major cities.
Oh no, I never did public transportation.
No.
So when I lived in LA too, like it's not real big out there. So
yeah.
We could use. I hear about it. Like a Summerville to downtown Charleston. Like I would still love that if anybody's can make that happen out there.
Yeah. If any of our viewers can buy a train,
or just start
comment train down below to start a public fund.
Start building one. Yeah, see what happens. See if anybody stops you.
Yeah. We can put something on the public railway. I don't know. I have heard of that. They got to do something about I-26.
Yeah,
that place
is
brutal, man. Yeah. I was driving to work once, driving to the office. And I shouldn't joke about this because I'm sure it was a horrible accident. But I-26 is like 4 or 5 lane, whatever. Right. And dude, the semi truck crashed horizontal.
Oh,
And I'm like, bro, you're going to be all the lanes?
yeah,
How
yeah,
are you
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to crash horizontal? I mean, that was a historic day because there was no slow down, condense into a lane. The entirety of I-26 had to divert through Summerville. It was like backed up to just, I mean, it took 2 hours to go 15 miles. It was insane.
Yeah.
That was a terrible time. But yeah, I-26 gets pretty busy. So I don't know, you know, they've been talking about stuff, but I think they'll just build more roads. I don't know if we're going to get a rail system.
No, probably not. Yeah.
But
it'd be amazing,
but yeah, that's what I think is kind of a misconception about the South from people up north is how similar it tends to be. Mm-hmm. You know, the climate's a lot different, the weather's a lot different. It's a great place, but you know, I've had people come down and you know, people particularly this was more of a 2020 thing because people were you know freaking out. Mm-hmm. But you used to get not so much. You used to get the political question a lot, you know, and and I'm like. You know, they go, "Oh, is it a red state?" And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, technically, like it. If you look at the voting history, but it's not like it doesn't come up. you know, I don't. I have no idea the political affiliations of like half my friends.
Right,
you know?
right.
And people kind of have this idea. Well, yeah, it's a deep red state. And, you know, everyone's da 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 da, and it's like, if you ask them, I guess they'll tell you.
Right.
But it's not as big of a deal, and you know, not that I have any firsthand knowledge, but I would assume it's probably the same up there. People consider it a blue area, but I don't think people are screaming it from the rooftops, really.
And I think the people, you know, the Charlestonians who are like hanging on to like, no, we got to keep people out. Like,
kind of lost that.
Yeah, the ship's out of the harbor.
The dam
guys.
is broken, brothers.
Yeah.
No,
they've kind of given up the holding the line.
My favorite thing is the people who are like, we don't have any more room. I'm like, you just got here. It's like,
you've been here 3 years.
And they're just, you know, they just opened up an authentic New York pizzeria, and they're like, no more.
That's all the people out in Summers Corner.
I've heard so many folks from up north, and they're like, it's getting so overpopulated. I'm like, that's crazy.
Wonder how that happened.
That's wild. Yeah.
Can't imagine.
It was fine 3 years ago. But, yeah, I mean, it's a tricky thing. Kind of circling back to real estate, I will say it's been great for, you know, just equity and whatnot.
Right.
It is a little bit unfortunate. I think sometimes that's hit the locals harder than it has folks out of state because, you know, somebody like, I'll just say this. If you were a child who was born and raised in Mount Pleasant, you cannot buy in Mount Pleasant. If you're your first job, if it's your first, now I'm not saying never, but when you're, let's say you just got out of college or I don't know, maybe straight into the workforce, 25 years old.
Right.
I'm not saying none of them, but you've got to be doing very well for yourself to be from here, born and raised here and buy in Mount Pleasant at 25.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm very happy for all the folks in Mount P who, you know, bought a house at 200K and are now selling it for $1 million. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But it does feel like there are some areas they've almost become like exclusively for out-of-state buyers, or at least older buyers for the South. You know, the downtown area is very difficult for the locals to buy right now. You know, there's just not a lot of born and raised guys down here. Matter of fact, I don't really know a lot of people buying in the peninsula that work at all. Right. It's kind of a retirement place,
right?
You know, if you're buying a $5 million house,
or even like the people who are buying like second homes.
Yeah,
you know, that have, you know, the FU money. Just a
lot of second homes for, you know, their kids going to college. Charleston, they'll just buy a house for them while they're staying there, stuff like that. And I don't know, man, because that's the tricky thing about the market, right? Is that on one hand, you know, this is, you know, it's just the market. The market's going to support whatever it is, and I think a lot of people, you know, maybe don't have a ton of perspective on that because it's, you know, oh well, you know, man, these prices are getting too high for the locals, and it's like, well, see, when you list your house, you're gonna do it at a discount, like for the locals, like no, come on now, you're gonna get as much money as you can out of that thing, and if someone from New York offers you way more money, you're gonna take it. So it's
still spends the same whether it comes from New York or local,
right. So I don't know, you know, it's hard to say whether or not that's a philosophical argument on whether that's a good or a bad thing. It just kind of is, but we have seen a lot more, like I said, in Walterboro, man, with my younger clients, we've taken a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
You know, you get a really nice house for like $250,000.
Right.
And, you know, it's got some land. It's a great house. And ironically enough, what I found is the commute is chronologically about the same. Now, distance-wise, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it takes me 30 minutes to get out of my neighborhood.
Right.
Because if I'm leaving at 7 in the morning, like I said, 2 elementary schools in my neighborhood, great with small kids, but that's the drop off.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there. And,
Yeah.
So I might spend a half an hour to go 1 mile, and you might spend a half an hour and go 20 miles. So it kind of evens out, depending on the time of day, at least.
Well, I was working downtown there. I was living in Summers Corner and working downtown Charleston. So coming down 61 every day.
Insane.
Some days it would take like 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's just not sustainable.
Yeah, and that's what people out on the road, they just go back, through Ravenel.
Yeah.
Take them an hour and a half.
Done that a couple times.
Yeah.
So traffic's actually building up out there because so many people are cutting.
Yeah, and then they go, oh, we all had this idea at once. Oh no. Yeah. It's whatever. I think they're supposed to be widening, or not widening. You heard about in Dorchester, right here on the corner, right up there, where they're going to build that little what's it called?
A little roundabout thing.
Something like that. Yeah, it's like they're gonna go over Trolley and Latson.
Oh,
it's like on what's the hell is the name of that road? On the intersection of
the new one that they just built.
Yeah, where Trolley
keep going over Bacon's Bridge. I don't know the road either, but it takes you towards downtown Summerville. There.
Yeah, and they just built that. That's outstanding, and they're talking about, I don't know if they've approved it or not, or they're just talking about it, but building one that just is going to like leapfrog over where Dorchester just go over Trolley and Latson.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I think they're going to kill Tomlinson's though. I think they have to eminent domain Tomlinson's. Yeah. R.I.P. Tomlinson's.
Sacrifices must be made.
Well, it is what it is. 30 minutes off the commute, baby.
I'll tell you. Yeah, it sounds like
it is what it is. But I don't know how long it's going to take them to slap that up. But they are to their credit. I
agree.
They are working.
There's only so much you can do. Like, I mean,
and I think it comes back to what we were talking about at the schools in Cane Bay. Like, it just the private money is moving so much faster than the public spending can.
Yeah.
And if you are doing an additional road system for the government, especially if it has to involve demolishing some current structures, I'm sure that's a very long.
I couldn't imagine the red tape that is involved.
And then meanwhile, a home builder's like, if you're buying, I'm building, and just slaps up 1,000. So to their credit, they are working on solutions, but it seems like people are moving in faster than building it. I don't know how you avoid that, but it is what it is. But definitely no end in sight, man. Stuff is moving along.
Yeah.
So. We've been making progress, but it's all gravy in the end,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for our industry, we'll take it.
Yeah, no, well, folks are always going to buy and sell houses, and it is what it is. That's another thing I tell people, man, is like don't work, because I tell clients all the time about what I said at the beginning of the show was like, don't stress too much about trying to be this economic savant and like time the market, because you're probably just gonna. You pay rent for 10 years until you find the ideal time. And now, it is what it is. Just do what's best for you. But we don't talk about that enough from like the professional standpoint too.
Yeah.
Everyone's so worried about it. You have to keep up with the market trends for your job, because you have to know what you're talking about. But, just this worrying about it. I'm like, you know what, man, like if someone's moving for a job transfer, if, God forbid it's something like a divorce or something like that, and they've got to move, or maybe there's a death in the family and you've got to sell their house because you've inherited it, no one knows what to do with it. Like, these situations are still going to come up, and just try not to be so robotic about it, and understand that it's a personal thing, and people are always going to have that, and do whatever you can in that market, and you'll be fine.
Right.
Some years you'll do $1 million, some years you'll do less, whatever.
Right.
But just keep the attitude right. You'll be all right.
Yeah. That's it, man.
Yeah.
It's a great way of looking at it.
I try my best.
That's why I came here, to get that insight.
That's all we do is smile, brother. Look, there's not everything. You can't control everything in the world, but you can control whether or not you have a good time. So,
Love that.
Yeah. That's what we do. But I think that's just about all I wanted to cover. Jake, anything you wanted to say before we let you go?
I don't think so, man. We hit a lot. We hit, the drawbacks of Rocket Mortgage and Walmart and all those things. That's really why I came
One big
here.
takeaway is, I'm not going to say that word. That's a mean word to say. We'll just say, frick Rocket Mortgage. That was not.
No,
if nothing else, no.
I think what you're doing here is great, man.
Thank you.
I mean, connecting people who work locally here, I think is so important. Like, and it just hits on all the things that we've talked about already, and it's so cool. So.
Well, we, that's kind of the goal of all this, man. Is I've rambled a million times about, Walmart and Rocket Mortgage and whoever they're gonna throw. You never have to worry about their ability to throw money at a problem.
Yeah.
But I don't care how successful you are on a local level, you simply cannot outspend these giants. And so my hope, you know, we're just starting out second episode, and I do appreciate you coming on. But the hope is that eventually this, you know, becomes a positive marketing outlet for some of these, you know, local businesses. And, you know, if you ain't got $1 billion to spend, at least maybe you can go do this. And I don't know, sell a couple other burgers if you're Matt's Burgers Summerville. I don't know.
Love that.
That's the goal, man. That's the goal. But so look, where can people find you, man? How do you, if I want to get a house and I need a mortgage and I need to get in touch with Jake Cummings, how do I find you?
Honestly, if you just go to Google and put in Jake Cummings Mortgage, I'll come up. That might be the easiest, but, you know, Premier Nationwide Lending. Find me on Facebook, Jake Cummings, LinkedIn, Jake Cummings, Premier Nationwide Lending, or Insta, Jake Cummings Home Loans.
Sweet. Yeah. Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it, man.
Loved it, man.
Look, folks at home, like I said, we're trying to make this good for the local community, so please do share. It means a lot. If you hate me, share and don't say anything. But we appreciate your viewership, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
All right.